Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I'm gonna give you guys my top 3 picks for beginners looking into getting into the hobby. So here are some criteria that I'm keeping in mind. Since these are beginners, the tank size is probably around like 10 to 20 gallons, so the fish has to fit into that size aquarium. Price, hardiness, and probably attractiveness is probably going to be the key criterias in terms of picking these fish out here. So let's start with the first fish, which is probably the most common fish that most people get into the hobby with, is a betta. With a betta, it hits all these criteria. I've seen them as low as like $4, and I've seen them as high as like $50. And the low end will be kind of more like a solid color, where it's like either like a all red or an all blue, or like a duller color, something in that general spectrum of color. If you're looking something more fancy, where it's tricolor or koi or something like that, you're starting to get to like maybe like the $20 range, and then like probably like $50 for some like the super nicer ones. But obviously you have to spend a fortune to get something nice. Like something like this is probably, I would say, like on the higher end of things, especially when you're beginners. $20 a fish is pretty high, because obviously you don't want it to die. But the good thing is bettas are pretty hardy. They eat pretty much anything, and they're really easy to keep. The second fish is actually a category of fish, Livebearers, just because there's so much variety, and I think they kind of can be grouped as one. But one of the first groups under Livebearers is mollies. Mollies are very common. They're really hardy, and they're fairly cheap. Now the colors are kind of limited, but with the colors that you have here, if you like some of these colors here, they're pretty nice. These are saltwater. They're not mollies, but these guys up here, they're pretty nice. The one good thing about Livebearers is they reproduce pretty easily. So if you like having like a little baby fish, and having like a school of fish, these guys are where you would start off getting. Guppies also follow under this category, but generally guppies could be a little bit more expensive just because they're more colorful, they're more fancy, they have like a ton more colors. So the price of guppies could be like anywhere up to like 10 to like $20 depending on what you're getting. And lastly are platies, similar to mollies, a little bit more color. They have like different like colors where they're red, etc., etc. You can kind of get like different colors if you kind of want to go under there. So these guys generally are pretty good, pretty hardy. I had all these guys growing up, so I know that these guys can survive, and it's pretty fun to have like little babies kind of just swimming around the tank as well. All right, the last fish I'm going to mention kind of gets overlooked a little bit just because it's a little nano fish. It can be considered a feeder fish. They're white clouds. Under this website, they're actually listed as feeder fish because people actually feed them just because they're cheaper. They can go anywhere from like 50 cents to $1 at most places. Maybe like $2 tops is what you'll pay for if they're like adults or they look a little bit nicer. But these guys, they're really colorful. All right, so this picture here doesn't show it justice, so I'm gonna pull up another picture here. White clouds. All right, so here's a better picture of them. As you can see, they have like these red tips on their fins with these white stripes. They are just a beautiful little fish. Cheap. They like cooler water, so actually, you probably don't even need to run a heater with these guys. Um, they so it's probably like one less thing you have to buy. But yeah, they just get overlooked just because they are considered feeder fish. But I think these are actually one of the most beautiful little fish that you can get. All right, guys, and those are my top 3 picks for beginners looking to getting into the hobby. Let me know what your top 3 picks are. As long as it follows those criteria, leave in the description below. If you guys are not subscribed yet, make sure you guys are subscribed. And like always, to the next one, guys, peace.